Well, let's talk about an Ohio State player next. Excuse me,
Mike
guys.
wants to get
Carnell
back on
Tate's
track.
been somebody who has been in conversation for the 6th pick with Cleveland, as Jay shows off some highlights that unfortunately we cannot show here on UCSS. The 40 times for the receivers were as fast as they've ever been on average this year. The average 40-yard dash for a receiver was a 4.44. That's the fastest in the history of the Combine since they started tracking this in 2003. The fastest receiver times you can see on your screen there. Brennan Thompson, Mississippi State, ran a 4.26. Xavier Thomas from LSU ran a 4.28. Deion Burks from Oklahoma ran a 4.3. Jeff Caldwell from Cincinnati, a 4.31. Bryce Lance, the younger brother of Trey Lance, ran a 4.34. Then you see Carnell Tate did not rank anywhere near the top. He ran a official 4.53 40-yard dash. Jason, I know it's, as some people like to call it, the underwear Olympics. But that was a slower time than expected for Carnell Tate and certainly not near the top of the receiver speed list. Does that take him out of play for the Browns at number 6, or should we just look at the tape and ignore a silly 40-yard
Yeah, it better not. It better not take him out of the conversation. Honestly, the play, I forget what game it was, when he had the alligator arms. That was a bigger concern for me than whatever.
I agree with you, yeah.
But he'll run again in Columbus. I'm sure he'll put up a better time than that.
And it'll be faster.
Yeah, but I mean, just for me, it's always the tape for me. And we talked about last week, Ohio State receivers are like FANG stocks. That's Facebook, Apple, Netflix, Google. Those guys rarely bust. So if you can get an Ohio State receiver at the top of the draft, chances are it's going to turn out well for you. So is it concerning? I wouldn't go so far as to say concerning.
Does their blind spot at that position factor into it at all? And I ask that because if you've taken a lot of wide receivers and they've done well, then you have a pretty high confidence level of pulling that off.
Yeah.
But because they've had such a blind spot in this regime at wide receivers, do you think that changes the calculus at all?
How would it change it? In
Well,
terms of what?
That there is a question on this. Like if he'd run a 4.4, then I don't think there's any concerns at all. But there's a red flag on the kid. And I'm just wondering if Andrew Berry has the onions to pull trig on this kid after there's already a concern.
So what if he goes to Columbus and runs a 4.4?
That's different.
Yeah.
And I think he will be faster. I just don't think he'll be that much faster.
Yeah. What would he have to? What was he? 4.5?
4.53, and he ran it again and was exactly the same 4.53.
Yeah.
So
So what's he have to run for you to feel comfortable with?
Low 4.4s.
Man, if he come out there and run a 4.47, thumbs up.
Yeah.
I mean that's 0.6.
It's
Faster, but
I think
6/100ths. I'm sorry.
But this is the thing, you always get messed up. First of all, yes, I think it.
Don't get me wrong. I like him.
No,
I like him.
It is.
Don't know if I like him at 6.
It is. It is something to be said about the fact that the Browns, have not done a good job. If one of my main criticisms of Andrew Berry is I hate his receiving. I hate his receiver profile. I hate it.
It's an F. It's an F-.
I don't like the smallish receivers that really can't hold on to the football.
Right.
Like I just don't. That's not my MO. So
I mean, David Bell, Anthony Schwartz. There's others I'm missing. There's another one that I've.
What's the dude from Louisville? They just got him.
Thrash.
Jamari Thrash.
Like his hit rate is. Hey, Mike, just for a little exercise, I'm curious about this. Can you call up the top 5 wide receiver times from the Combine in 22? And I only ask that as an exercise because I'm curious. Anecdotally, in my mind, it's not the burners that have great success in the NFL. Not to say that these guys aren't fast, they are. But I don't think any of them were the fastest. I could be wrong.
Yeah. Well,
Jackson,
go ahead.
What were they?
In 2022.
Yeah, I don't know what he got back.
I got the Combine database up.
All right.
Tyquan Thornton
Okay.
ran a 4.28.
All right.
He's been a solid pro.
Okay.
I actually kind of that was my guy for a free agent pickup for the Browns or for a trade
but
candidate.
I think it's safe to say he hasn't been a superstar.
No, he hasn't.
He hasn't been a star.
And for the record, he's better than the next 4.
All right.
Okay.
Valus Jones from Tennessee ran a 4.31. Calvin Austin the third. I
Nah.
believe he's on the Steelers now.
Only receiver I know
He
is
is.
Calvin is Johnson.
He is on the Steelers.
He ran a 4.32.
Nah.
Danny Gray from SMU.
Don't know him.
Ran a 4.33. I interviewed Danny Gray when he was at Blink College. Hope Danny's doing well.
Good.
And
Shout out, Danny.
Bo Melton from Rutgers ran
Okay,
a 4.34.
so in this little exercise, which I had no idea how it was going to turn out, I think you could pick any year. In this little exercise, I think what we can deduce from it, very small sample size, is that there are a lot of attributes that make great players. At wide receiver, there are a lot.
Yeah.
I think chief among them are hands and route running.
Yes.
And then I think it's speed. And so to your point, I've seen enough of Carnell Tate. I watched the tape. I watched every down of his career. This kid can play the position. So I hope that the slower 40 time doesn't dissuade the Browns, even though I bring up the fact that I think it is a red flag. But these guys, the fastest combine wide receivers, in my mind, I can't think that they automatically translate to great, successful wide receivers.
Yeah, no, that's fair, but at the same time, like what held Brian Rubisky back? I think it was his lack of speed.
Well, now listen.
And David Bell.
If you're a 4.7 guy, that's a different story. He wasn't. A 4.5, I think that's on the slower end of fast.
Yeah.
The
A
average this
4.7?
season was 4.4.
What's that?
The average at the combine this season was a 4.44 for receivers.
Yes. So he's a tenth of a second almost slower. So that's why I say he's on the slow end of fast.
Yeah.
I would rather be on the slow end of fast than the fast end of slow, which is where Rubisky was, and there have been other guys that came out 4.7.
Jarvis Landry. Jarvis Landry was running like a 4.7.
Yeah, Jarvis was not fast.
But if you can
That's
run
why
routes,
you never know, man.
No,
it's
you
so
never.
hard.
Jerry Rice wasn't a burner.
It's so hard. It's not like you can say he's got this, and this. He's going to work.
Right.
Because you can line up two guys next to each other that have the same metrics. One guy can play and one can't.
Yeah, and there's no metric to measure this.
Yeah.
And Tyreek Hill was a guy who had success with great speed, but I think that if you line up the best, I don't remember what Jamar's 40 time was. He was fast, but I don't think he was probably in the top 5 of his class.
Oh, no, he was. I got him all up right here.
Okay,
yeah.
what are they?
Jamar Chase was the third fastest
What was
receiver
his
that
40
year.
time?
4.34.
Ooh, that's quick, man.
Yeah.
Do you know who was the fastest that year?
That was a good year for wide receivers, wasn't it?
It was 2021, and I'll give you 10 seconds because it's Browns related.
Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah, Anthony Schwartz.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I think the
How'd
thing
that
about
work out?
Carnell Tate is, you talk about people and being fast. Well, he always seemed to be getting behind somebody. He was always behind. He was behind the defense against Michigan. He was behind the defense against Big Ten schools. No matter where it was, he got behind Texas. He makes big plays. He has great long speed. Now, the thing that I like about him is he's smooth, man. Yeah. Like this dude run every route on the field. He can run the bang 8. He can run the go route. He can run the slant. He goes over the middle. He can run the dig route. And the thing about him, there was, he had the thing with the catching in traffic against Miami. But you go back and watch him, not just this year, but go back and watch him last year. He makes pro type catches where he's catching the ball here, he's tucking it away, and he's got his feet in bounds no matter where he is. His body control is awesome, and it looks like when he's running, he could be running any route, but he breaks it off, and it's very good. I mean, he's the quintessential, I'm a pro.
Could you imagine if Smith was eligible to come out?
Oh, man.
The top of the draft, Ohio State would have guys littered in the first round.
Ryan
and
Day.
And they didn't get to the championship.
Ryan
game.
Day, bro, you tripping. What? It's
insane.
How you lose that?
Insane, the talent they had.
You had crazy talent. Now,
reminds me of those John Cooper teams that couldn't beat Michigan.
Now,
I mean, he had Eddie George, Terry Glenn,
David Boston,
Corey Stringer,
Ricky, who was the tight end?
Orlando Pace.
Ricky Dudley, Orlando Pace. That team he couldn't beat Michigan.
You just couldn't. Now, I think that I'll commend him for running the 40 because Jordyn Tyson didn't run and Makai Lemon didn't run.
And now more dudes aren't going to run.
I know, unfortunately.
And I know Makai Lemon is slower than Tate. I know he going to run. He
has his own draft question.
Right. hey, listen, let me just Makai Lemon.
He should have run.
Hey, let me tell you this, man. This dude is he's one of them.
He's different.
Like he's
different.
He's one of them dudes that if you go into a street fight, give me Makai Lemon. He can come with me. Like he looks like he is not playing at all. He looks like he's affiliated. He's plugged in on the street level. But I mean,
is he an LA kid? Do you know?
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah.
He's born and raised LA.
Yeah. He's.
He raised some red flags.
Man,
for sure.
boy. He's a great football player.
He's from LA.
When I read a lot this weekend about some of the comments about him, I thought, well, there you go. Browns are going to take him number 6.
Hey, listen.
There's your Browns draft pick.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you what. The thing about Makai Lemon, he can play special teams. He doesn't play like that chip. He talks off the field. He's a very calm dude on the field. On the field, he catches the ball back to the huddle. He catches the rock back to the. He can go over the middle. He's tough. He comes down with 50-50 balls. He can run every single route. He's one of them dudes that if you go and he gets drafted by the Rams or the 49ers, he's going to be a nightmare.
Yeah, in the Ram system especially. Oh my! You're right. Both those systems.
He will be an absolute terror, and you're going to be like, why?
But
did we
you
pass
put him in
on
the wrong system, and he could be a nightmare for a different reason.
Now he could. Now look, I haven't. I will say this: if you come away with either
I think the Jets or Browns are definitely taking
Tyson, Tate, or Lemon, I'll be fine with it. Yeah. But
are we locked in wide receiver at 6, or we're not even sure about that?
I don't think nothing. No,
I don't mean the Browns. I mean what you guys want.
No.
I haven't made my decision either.
I ain't really locked because
let's see what happens.
Got a long way to go.
Tell you.
We could plug. Yeah, we got a long way to go, and we could plug some holes before we get to the draft. We could make some more trades. You never know.
And people are slowly. I don't know if it's proper. Yeah, I was trying to talk me into this defensive player, but the more they keep doing around that, you may say, oh, all right, well. If you take care of some of this other stuff, it's easier to.
There's plenty of ways to fill needs.
Yeah,
it doesn't have to be at 6. But again, I've been pretty consistent. The only way you take a defensive player at 6 is if you think he's going to.
He better be cold,
day.
Right? Yeah.
Like that's it.
He better be a Hall of Famer.